Well, hi and welcome to another video in the series of the Greek Forum, New Testament Greek Forum. And in this video, I'm going to do exercise 9C in Duff and take you through it, hopefully, bit by bit. And this is primarily for the benefit of the group that does New Testament Greek on Zoom on Wednesdays, but it's for anybody who wants to listen or watch or whatever. Back in the conservatory, it's getting late on a Friday afternoon, but it's still just about warm enough. So hoping to get through this without freezing to death. I just think that chim is a nice background, nice backdrop for these videos. As well as pictures and things. Okay, enough of that. I've decided that principally because my New Testament Greek group that meets on Zoom on Wednesday is doing so well, and we really are now just in the business of translating and doing exegesis on Mark's Gospel. I've decided not to do the exercises, the Greek to English exercises A and B, because really, in a way, we've kind of moved beyond that. And we're into translating the New Testament. So I'm going to focus on the biblical passages only. And section C of Duff on page 109, I believe, is a passage from Matthew chapter 16. I'm going to talk you through it and make a few comments that may hopefully help you along the way. I've made some notes on the stuff I didn't know or didn't know well, so I should be able to get myself out of trouble. So, section C, Matthew 16, verses 13 to 18, beginning with the word elthone, which hopefully you will start to recognize now. You've had elthen, he came, which is the participle form of the verb erchomai. Erchomai is one of these funny verbs that doesn't look anything like it, erchomai, when you put it in things like the aorist. So this is a participle. We've dealt a little bit with participles, and this is the nominative singular masculine that you're familiar with, I hope by now. The ones you're familiar with are the ones ending in on and ontos, which are the masculine nominative third person nominative and the third person singular nominative and third person plural nominative forms of the standard aorist verb, the simple stuff, and this is one of the simple ones. So elthone is the aorist participle of erchomai. So coming, as he was coming, we'll deal with things like how you say while he was doing things, hopefully at some future point. Anyway, coming, and then you've got de, which in this context is the word but or and. Here probably and, although you may not end up translating it, these words are spread very liberally, and you'll remember, I hope, that de never comes first in a sentence, and so that's why it's second. So, and coming, Jesus, to, and then the region. Now, Tamera is actually a plural, and it's an irregular plural. It kind of looks quite a simple word, tamere. In fact, not tamera. Tamere is a plural, and it's a neuter plural, which is given away by the article, and it is the regions. Now, if you want to look up how that declines, that particular noun, then it's on page 153 of Duff or 118 of Wynne, and this is one of those weird third declension jobbies. For me, I just look it up in Baxter and find out what it is. But if you want to do a bit more research, that's where it is. Literally, it's the regions. We would translate it in the singular, the region of Caesarea of Philippi. The region of Caesarea Philippi, simple enough. and those are both Caesarea. I think I've not done this. It looks like a feminine accusative, and Philippou looks like a genitive. So anyway, you'll know this. You know what it is. It came to the region of Caesarea Philippi. A rota is a verb you probably won't be familiar with, and the verb is eroteo, which is an a-o verb, which is it's one of those verbs that does weird things. And if you want to look it up in Duff, it's on page 220. For our purposes, because it's probably beyond the capacity of most of us to remember the less common forms of a-o and o-o verbs. It is a third person singular imperfect. So we want to give it the imperfect sense here. It's not an aorist, it's an imperfect. So the verb eroteo is to ask. So he was asking. You'll see that Duff has translated brackets. He began to ask. I will bow to Duff's superior knowledge of Greek in this matter, but certainly you want to give it that kind of imperfect sense. And then moving down a page, to Mathetas, the disciples of him, saying all of that. I hope is simple enough for you. Another nominative participle, legone, from lego, I say, legone. It's very common. The word legone, the participle form of lego, occurs very frequently, and it usually introduces a quotation. You'll see that here from the fact that tina, the next word, begins with a capital Tor. Tina. Now, worth pausing here and saying tis and tis with an accent. I'm not sure how you pronounce them differently, but there are two tisses. No, I'm not using bad language. It's on page 140 of Duff, and it's tis means one, someone, but tis with an accent is an interrogative pronoun. So so this is Jesus saying who. It's a nominative plural, and if you want look up the forms, they are on page 140 of Duff. So whom, and then legusin, that's a third person present, who are saying, and then hoi anthropoi, which is people in this context rather than men. The men, just men, who men saying to be, I, the infinitive of that we learned as Amy, Estin, and so on. I is if you remember, is the infinitive of the verb to be, whom saying people to be. So who are people saying is, and then the conclusion of the sentence, Todd huion to anthropo. Who are people saying the Son of Man is? Or who are people saying the Son of Man to be? But we would translate it, who are people saying that who are people saying who are people saying is the Son of Man? Who are people saying the Son of Man is, I should say. So wrapped up in the Greek, made me English is going out the window. So verse 14, hoi de ipan, which is, we've had ipen, the aorist form of lego. This is the third person plural as opposed to the third person singular. And hoi, the definite article meaning they, the people to whom Jesus is referring. They are saying, or they said, I beg your pardon, the disciples, I should say, the hoi refers to, the disciples said, hoi again, meaning relating to the people that the disciples are talking about. Here we have the other use. In this sentence we have, and it gets a bit complicated, this gets a little bit complicated because here we have the other use of de with the word men. Now, if you remember from last week, we said that when you kind of get men and de together, which tends to mean men on the one hand, de on the other hand. Here it's used of a whole range of alternatives. So some on the one hand say this, and then you get a few des on the other hand. And we probably wouldn't translate that, but it may help you to understand the way that men and de are used in this sentence. So some the various ones, it's John the Baptist. So trying to think whether there's anything to remark about John the Baptist. It's simple enough. You've done this stuff, so I'm just looking something up while I'm here. So excuse me, just making sure I've got something right that I'm fearful I've got wrong, and then you stick it on YouTube. And you're open to anything. So some John the Baptist, alloy, you've done this, I think. Others, allos, other. You had allos, other, allelus, one another. Allos, this is obviously masculine neuter, plural. Others. On the other hand, another death there, Elijah, and then others, heteroi, from where we get things like heterodoxy, again, others, Jeremiah, on the other hand. And here we've got the A with the accent, which is or rather than the article, and then henna, tone, prophet, tone, genitive, plural of prophetes, and henna meaning one. Now, you've not had the word for one yet, and if you want to look it up in Duff, it is on page 150, and there you will see the way that the word declines, and I'll let you sort that out yourself, or one of the prophets. Now, hopefully, that's going to make complete sense now. Yes, I'm just working out those hois and realizing that I've misled you. So I'm not going to redo the whole video. But I'm pretty sure I'm just checking this in my bed. Now let's stick with the article. I'm not quite sure about the exact use of this, but it's clear the way that hoi has been used is referring, the disciples are referring to various groups of people who are saying various things about who Jesus is. it's interesting, this, isn't it? This is human nature, isn't it? Whenever you get anybody in a kind of who becomes a prominent figure, even in a local church, absolutely everybody has an opinion about him or her. It's typical of things. It's typical in church life. It's typical in football management, for instance. Everybody's got an opinion about Gareth Southgate, and loads of people are talking. One of the things I've become aware of as a pastor, that if you have a church of about, let's say, 100 people, there will be maybe 7 or 8 groups of people who have a particular opinion, good or bad, maybe very favourable, maybe not so favourable, about who the minister is in terms of what he is. And it's clear that in Jesus, as thousands of people came gathered around Jesus, everybody had an opinion. So Jesus teases out, let's not talk amongst ourselves about who I may be, but let's talk about the truth, about reality. And so at the end of this, one of the prophets, then he says, and I love the way this is a present tense, he says to them, which brings a sense of life and of immediacy. He says to them, I'm not going to explain all of these words. You should know about that. Now, here we have chamais, and the reason you've got a capital is because it's introducing direct. This is the beginning of a quotation. It's usually possible in Greek to work out where the beginning of a quotation is. Sometimes it's a lot more difficult to work out where it ends. Thus the confusion over John 3:16, whether it was something Jesus said or whether it was John's comment following the quotation from Jesus. And scholarship is divided on that, so far be it from me as a mere Philistine to offer an opinion. But anyway, this is a second person pronoun, you, and it's emphatic, and you, or but you. And so the use of, because pronouns aren't required, so when you get a pronoun, it becomes emphatic, but you, and then tina, which is a nominative plural of the interrogative pronoun. Who, me, you hopefully don't, ego, me, mu, mo, the first person pronouns. This is the accusative. Who, me, you say to be. Who do you say that I am? And hopefully you've noticed the semicolon indicating a question. Okay. So we move on to verse 16. Gets a little bit easier after this, so be encouraged. Verse 16, apokryphes, nominative singular, masculine, participle, first aorist. I had to look that up. The verb to answer. Answering, really, you would translate this answering. Duff says in reply, literally it's answering. Another de, probably left untranslated here. Answering, Simon Peter said, I pen, and then capital sigma to introduce what Simon Peter said. So, second person singular, so says so. You are the Christ, the Son of God. And then you've got another genitive, to zontos, which is from zao. You're familiar with the word zoe for life. This is a verbal form, it's a genitive singular, present participle. It's not an uncommon word. When you see zontos, it means living, alive. You are the Christ, the Son of God, of the living Son of the living God. Another apocryphase answering, Jesus said to him, straightforward, I'm not going to go through all of that, Makarios, happy, blessed. I love that word. I just love Makarios. Blessed are you, Simon. This is Bar Jonah, which we're familiar with from your Greek text, if you know the story. And because this is kind of lifted from Hebrew or Aramaic, I think, Bar means son, and Yonah is from Jonah. So Bar Jonah means Simon, son of Jonah. Because Hoti, I'm not sure how many Hotis we've done. You have different Hotis, and in Mark's Gospel, I think we soon come across a Hoti recitative, which is another use of it. Here, Hoti just means because. Sarx, which is a third declension now, which you probably haven't come across, but we know we have words like sarcophagus, which is a tomb where you put flesh. Sarx is the very, very common word. I mean, Paul uses sarx as in contrast to pneuma, spirit, a great deal. So sarx, flesh, and hema, blood. I'm not sure if you've done that or not, but you're familiar with hematology, which is really where this comes from. It's got an aspirant breathing. Flesh and blood. So worth knowing about flesh and blood because they occur quite often. And I think hema is also a third declension because I think the genitive I think is hematos, but don't quote me on that or please correct me if I'm wrong about that. Flesh and blood, not, and then apokalupse. Now, you actually have some familiarity with this word. Don't be daunted by it because you'll be familiar with the word apocalypse, which we use to describe, we use as an alternative for the book of Revelation, but also we use it as apocalyptic literature, which means to reveal. Apocalypto is the verb. Looks like we've already had it in Duff anyway. So it's hopefully well known to you already. This is a third person singular aorist indicative passive form, which I wouldn't have known had I not looked it up. So flesh and blood are not revealed. In other words, flesh and blood, it wasn't a human source that revealed this to you. Soy, the dative to you of the second person singular personal pronoun. Al, shortened form of Allah because you've got a vowel coming immediately afterwards. Al Hopatia. I'm not sure, until you had father yet. Another third declension, it's pretty obvious what it is. Patia, and it's patros, and patri, I think, is the dative, but you'll come across patia a great deal. Well, speaks for itself, doesn't it? Paternity, etc., in English. But the father of me, my father, the one, article, meaning the one who is in heaven. Incidentally, I'm pretty sure that those hoys further up are articles. I'm sorry, I think I just got confused there for a second because this is a similar use. My father, who is in heaven, the one in heaven, my father in heaven, revealed this to you. I don't know whether you've had Kago yet. Start of verse 18. Kago is the putting together of Kai and Ego, meaning an I. But I say to you, I to you say that. Now, Hoti here It just means that. And I know this is confusing. You get used to the different uses of hottie. We've had hottie because hottie sometimes introduces direct speech. Sometimes it just means that. And that's what it means here. I say to you that, and then so you, I are Petros, Peter. And upon, you've done this stuff, haven't you? Taking the dative, upon Taute te Petra, this, the rock, we just say, upon this rock. Oikodomeso is a future tense. You notice the sigma that's inserted before the ending. I will build of me, mu te ecclesian. I will build of me the church. Kai pule, which is the plural form of pulai, sorry, the plural form of pule, which is gate. Here, there's no article, interestingly, but gates, hadu, hadu is Hades, and that's obviously a genitive form, and pulai is accusative feminine plural, but it's a turn of speech. So pulai hadu means the gates of hell. It's a metaphor that Jesus is using here. The gates of hell, and then we're nearly there. Who not kataskususi, from the verb kataskuo, to overpower. And hopefully you can see from the ending, this is a third person plural with the usin on the end, and you'll see there's an extra sigma, which indicates it's a future. And kataskuo means to overpower, overcome. So not will overcome, autes, referring back to the ecclesia, the church, will not overcome. It takes the genitive under the influence of katiskuusin. Katiskususin, I beg your pardon. So there you have it. I hope you found that useful. And I hope you didn't find it nearly as daunting as you feared it might be. I've enjoyed doing it. It's enabled me to polish up a bit of my Greek. Anybody watching this who knows more Greek than I do, of whom there are stacks, please correct me if I've got anything wrong. This will when I tomorrow, Saturday the 16th, will appear on the New Testament Greek Forum Facebook page. Can I say thank you for listening? I should have said that at the start in case you stopped halfway through. But if you've managed to get through to the end, can I say well done? I hope that has proved to be useful to you. And I look forward to communicating with you soon, hopefully. You take care and you stay safe in these difficult days. Bless you. Bye.